Over the last couple of months, I posted a couple videos, one bending heavy wood and one bending much lighter wood. The heavy wood was 1 3/4 inches thick by 3.5 inches wide, but we bent it on the flat, not on edge. Also, the light bows, they were 1 by 1 3/4 inches, and we also bent these on the flat. So we were concerned with the runout, which we want less than 1 inch per every running foot. But in this video, we're going to bend a little different. This piece is 2 1/4 inches wide by 2 inches thick. But in this case, we're not going to bend it on the flat. I'm actually going to bend it on the vertical grain. This grain is going to be bent on edge. So that's why I'm going to put it in the steamer. Got 2 inches wide, 2 1/4 inches tall, and this is the direction that we're going to bend this piece of wood. The form I'm going to use is also a little different than in the past videos. This one I made out of steel, and instead of bolting to my press, it just slides on. The advantage of this style of form is that it allows me to add C-clamps as the wood is bending around the form. And just like the other bends in the other videos, I'm going to put a encased strap so that I have it captured both ends. And to increase the tension on the strap, I have a couple of 1/8 inch little straps I'm going to add in to take up the little extra slack that I have. Now my cables are extended out full length, so I propped up the band so that I could keep my band level. But one thing I forgot to do was to lift up my form so I could get my wood under the form. So I've got to do that here quick, and then I can push the wood. It's soft enough to get it down underneath the form and go ahead and start bending. As you remember, I put a notch on my bands so that I know where center is, so I'm just going to line that up quick before I bring the form down onto the wood. Now you'll remember when we're bending, the reason we use a metal strap capped on both ends is we want to keep the outside length of the wood constant. All the bending has to be compression to the inside. Now, since we're increasing the depth of our bend 2¼ inches thick, this means that more and more of the wood on the inside of the curve has to compress. I'm going to stop here for a minute and make some little minor adjustments to make sure this is bent on the flat plane. And I'm going to add a couple of C-clamps toward the lower part of this bend just to kind of keep it secure. Part of the disadvantage of being a one-man show, I've got the camera set, so I really can't make it go up and down here while I'm trying to get this done. So I apologize for not having the best angles of all what's going on up top. Now I'm going to take my pipe clamp and put it on the back side of the form to free up a little more room for one more C-clamp up on top. So this is what we ended up with, and I'm just going to leave it on this form generally for 3-4 hours. This one actually left on overnight. And you can see on the lower left, I've got a little wrinkle in the wood from the compression on the inside. We're going to look at that a little closer. Now as I release the tension off of my cables, you're going to see that it springs back quite a bit. But actually I have my form overbent just to accommodate for this. Now for the most part, the inside wrinkling isn't bad until right here. The outside actually remained fairly stable. Even the area with the little wrinkle in it, the outside actually was quite nice. Now because we're 2¼ inches thick, you can see a little more compression wrinkles on the inside. And then right here is where we had the worst one show up. Now I ran this through the planer so that we're at our 2 inches in thickness. And the reason I'm not too concerned about these wrinkles on the inside, because this style of front axle hound in the curve is only 2 inches thick. So I have 1/4 of an inch that I can actually take and clean up, and I'm going to remove most of these little wrinkles. The long ends of this front axle hound need to be 2 1/4, but this inside where the curve is only needs to be 2. Now if I had pre-sawn this down to 2 inches, I wouldn't have enough material left to finish out at a full 2. This way I can finish it out to where it's a full 2 inches, and when I get to my wrinkle, I can take most of it out. Evidently there was a little twig irregularity in this piece of wood when the tree was growing, what caused this little wrinkle. So we see we were able to take a 2 1/4 inch wide board, turn it on edge so that we have 2 1/4 on the straight ends, and end up with a bend that is really quite functional, and really is going to be much stronger. We're about 29 inches on the large one. This one we bent at 24, on edge, on a vertical grain. Thanks for watching.